Thank you, April 2025 channel members. After the original speculation video, I found some pretty interesting comments sharing some of the viewers' own speculations and other thoughts they had. Today I'm going to look at a handful of them and give some of my own thoughts on their comments as well. I will start with these two comments by Simply Whatever and Donutty OSC. It's not really speculation, but this does significantly change some things. If the season doesn't end at episode 32, but earlier, that probably means they don't go to single eliminations, which also means there would most likely be no points phase. There could still be a 3 teams phase in this scenario, as 3 episodes would be enough for each team to lose twice. Speaking of 3 teams phase, Ace of Blue Jays suggested that if that does happen, the teams may look different than I suggested, as the combination they mentioned would create more new dynamics, which makes a lot of sense to me. Here's a visual representation of what those teams would look like. I'm not sure they would want to have both exit debuters on the same team in my opinion. Then again, I did determine that I'd have both TPOT 1 debuters on the same team in my original arrangement, so maybe. There's more to this comment, however. They alternatively suggest that there could be 5 trios instead of 3 teams of 5. Teams 3 and 5 definitely fit the explanation they gave, where bigger plots can have a 3rd wheel. Winner for pencil and book, and Grassy for pen and line. Here's a visual representation of what that team arrangement would look like. This could be interesting. As far as I can recall, Price Tag hasn't properly interacted with Donut or Golf Ball, and I don't believe Fanny and Bottle really have interacted either. There's definitely a pretty strong belief that TPOT 18 will both be the VidCon episode and also a non-competition episode. And the more I think about it, the more I agree. The main reason I thought otherwise is because I misremembered when TPOT 11 released and thought it was in May. My mistake. It does make a lot of sense to release a non-competition episode that close to the tour. But there's more to Mashed Spud's comment, so let's focus in on that one for a moment, specifically the latter part of the comment, with a points phase only to the final 7 and immunity after that. The points phase would be double elimination, and the immunity phase single elimination. As for their TPOT 18 speculation, I can definitely see those events happening in a non-competition episode, particularly the part with 2 getting brought back to host. However, I don't see a rejoin, as if I remember correctly, a rejoin was already confirmed to not be happening. I could be misremembering again, though. As for the BFDIA section of their comment specifically, I don't have a lot to say about that. This is pretty reasonable stuff. It probably does make more sense to end BFDIA on episode 22, instead of needlessly extending it out with non-competition episodes that would make IDF be less special. Rob thinks that what they show at VidCon will either be part 2 of the 2763 short, or another canon short like PDA's. I do not see this personally, however, as in the VidCon video they did specify it would be a BFDI episode, and probably means that's not gonna be a short. Another interesting proposal I saw came from Quater 2011, Please tell me if I got the pronunciation wrong. Anyways, TPOT 18 will be a calmer, competition-based episode, and shown at VidCon. TPOT 19 will be non-competition and focus on the eliminated contestants, and TPOT 20 would have the merge and the rejoin. While I again do not believe there will be a rejoin, everything else here seems solid. One more team swap related comment, and this one comes from Dia. They think Marker may host the next episode, announce a team swap into 4 teams of 4, but then one team has one less member, which would get a rejoiner. Once again, I do not believe there will be a rejoin, but I will show what I think the teams may look like in this scenario. Here's a visual representation of what I think the 4 teams of 4 will be, with Remote taking the spot of whoever rejoins in this hypothetical. After all, she seems to be the most likely to win a rejoin vote should one happen. Again, this assumes TV and Snowball are the ones getting out next episode. Next up is a comment on the purpose of Tree's token. Junie believes that if the merge has points, the token will grant the holder an extra 10 points for each episode. However, if there is no points, it just allows Tree to avoid being up for elimination. I'm going to expand on this. What if these two concepts were combined, where Tree can either use it to get one-time immunity, or hold on to it and gain points for each episode? It would probably be a smaller amount of points in this case though, as 10 extra points per episode seems like it would be too overpowered. I will finish up with one final comment, left by Bill of the Brazilian. TPOT could be sort of a mix of both an individual immunity phase and a points phase. The top 3 in the challenge get both immunity, regardless of how many points they have, and 30 additional points, and then the rest gain points accordingly. The 6 with the lowest scores, besides the top 3 of this challenge, are up for elimination. This one also mentions Tree's token, which would be used to steal half of someone's points. This may actually be the most interesting speculation I've seen out of the comments I got. This would be taking an old idea and putting a new spin on it, and I'm a big fan of that, to be honest. I don't have any more comments I felt interested to share, so that will be all for this time. Do not expect me to make another one of these. Maybe I will in the future, but I certainly will not right away. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you in the next one.